This powerful statement summarizes a century of achievement, effort, challenges, and prosperity realized in the dream of a man. Accomplishment that is embodied in a network of employees, producers, and executives. A solid insurance company both in the United States, Latin America, and the Caribbean. This is the story of Pan American Life and its first 100 years. At the turn of the century, New Orleans was a thriving metropolis with a robust economy of imports and exports to the Caribbean and Central America. By 1911, a visionary executive by the name of Crawford Ellis was managing the prestigious United Fruit Company at the tender age of 35. About that same year, Colonel John T. Boone and Dr. Edward Simmons were pioneering insurance companies in the southern United States. They approached Ellis with an opportunity. He agreed to participate in the founding of a new insurance company based in New Orleans. Soon after, Ellis, Boone, and Simmons gradually began enlisting other prominent local figures to aid in the founding of the company, including Dr. Marion Souchon, medical director and New Orleans surgeon, and Mr. Eugene McGivney, Director General, Commissioner of Louisiana, and a recognized expert in insurance law. Together, these men established the Pan American Life Insurance Company on March 28, 1911. The 1910s was a decade rife with crisis and confusion. The international and political unrest did not hinder the growth and stability of the company, due in part to the conservative and responsible strategies which have remained within the DNA of the company after a century of history. By the early 1920s, Pan American Life showed impressive progress. In 1923, Pan American Life reached $100 million in life insurance, faster than any other insurer at the time. In October of 1929, the stock market crashed and sent the nation from a glorious decade of plenty into an economic tailspin that it would not recover from until World War II. The Great Depression presented tremendous challenges, but the company ventured through the global financial turmoil and continued to expand its assets and sphere of operations. Pan American Life ended the decade with diversified markets in health and accident coverage and would continue its remarkable and rapid growth to well above the results of the country's economy. It would continue to expand throughout the Americas. Amid an increasingly conflicted global political climate at the end of the 1940s and in the following decades, Pan American Life began the 1950s strengthened and in excellent financial condition. In the early 1950s, Pan American Life was already authorized to conduct business in 23 states of the United States, as well as 13 Latin American jurisdictions. The company had multiplied in size to more than 290 employees and over 750 producers. Despite the turbulent issues of civil rights, the Vietnam War, the counterculture movement, and the space race, the 60s represented a decade of continued growth for Pan American Life. The company increased in size to well over 400 employees in the United States alone. By 1970, Pan American Life had achieved a strong presence in the United States, operating in 31 states, Puerto Rico, and the District of Columbia. With increased operations in Latin America, Pan American Life created the International Operations Division in 1972. The 1970s would end with the company's diversification to maintain market stability and competitiveness. Pan American Life had become a global conglomerate. Pan American Life entered the 80s with a solid corporate structure, great financial strength, and a new home office. Business flourished throughout the decade. While the 1980s would become one of the most financially successful decades in the company's existence, the 1990s would be a decade of adjustments and repositioning of business strategies that Pan American Life had managed to diversify in the previous decades. In November 2004, Cuban-born Jose Suquet assumes the role of president and CEO of Pan American Life, and by 2008, he became chairman of the board. Suquet had become the first Hispanic to lead the company, and his hands lay the course of Pan American Life. In 2008, the world experienced one of the worst financial crises since the Great Depression. The collapse of the housing market, along with the failure of several large financial institutions in late 2007, triggered the global financial crisis that staggered some of the most emblematic companies of the insurance industry. Pan American Life was not one of them. Under the leadership of Suket, the company refocuses and returns to its roots. It is redefined as the Company of the Americas. By 2010, Pan American Life once again achieves market recognition for its financial strength with an A rating. The Great Recession, that virtually no country in the world has been able to elude, gives way to the dawn of a centennial celebration for Pan American Life. Perhaps it serves as a reminder to new generations of leaders not to overlook the history of a respected company, for in it lies its core conservative values, its ties to its Latin American heritage, and its commitment to its customers, its producers, and to its employees. These are the people who have made Pan American Life and Ellis Crawford's dream of reaching a century of promises kept.
I want to thank all of our agents, our employees, and our customers for sticking it out and having the faith in the strength of Pan American and the faith in the vision of the company to get us to where we are today. We have climbed mountains. We have gone through numerous upheavals in society, in governmental structure, in our region, and our agents and our employees and our customers have stayed with us. And for that, I thank you. And I also want to say that you haven't seen anything yet. The best in the history of Pan American is still ahead of us.